Imagine a community that builds barns taller than houses, homes that last centuries, and entire structures that defy storms, frost, and time itself, all without electricity, power tools, or modern machinery. While modern construction often cuts corners and leaves us with repairs in just a few decades, the Amish quietly rely on ancient wisdom and techniques so effective that engineers are still left scratching their heads. From foundations that never crack, to joints that tighten themselves over time, to roofs that literally grow stronger during storms, their methods sound more like engineering marvels than folk tradition. These are not outdated tricks from a forgotten era. They are living, breathing practices still used today, creating buildings that put million-dollar modern projects to shame. In this video, we'll uncover 30 Amish building tricks that defy modern methods. Secrets passed down through generations that prove sometimes the best technology isn't new at all. Stick around, because once you see how they do it, you may never look at modern construction the same way again. Amish template and pattern systems, uniformity without blueprints, may sound impossible, but Amish carpenters achieve it with wooden templates, pattern systems, and the ingenious story pole. Templates allow them to cut dozens of identical pieces by hand, critical when building large barns that rely on consistent joints and angles. More impressive is the story pole, a simple wooden staff inscribed with markings that represent every measurement needed for an entire structure. Instead of complex architectural drawings, a builder consults a single pole, instantly translating dimensions into physical construction. Accuracy is further ensured by complex angle transfer techniques that have been refined so precisely that Amish craftsmen can cut challenging joints with little margin of error. These collections of patterns and poles are passed down like family heirlooms, respected as much as fine furniture. And unlike fragile paper blueprints that can be lost, torn, or misread, a story pole carved with generations of knowledge becomes an indestructible record of craftsmanship. With this system, Amish builders can walk onto a job site with little more than hand tools and wooden guides, and yet deliver results that rival or surpass modern precision. Hand-cut joints in Amish construction. If there's one detail that separates Amish carpentry from the disposable nature of much modern construction, it is their mastery of hand-cut joints. The Amish favor mortise and tenon connections, ancient woodworking techniques where one beam is carved to fit perfectly into another. Unlike nails or screws that loosen over time, these joints actually grow stronger as the wood naturally settles, shrinks, and adapts to its environment. An Amish craftsman doesn't just cut wood, he reads it. Grain direction, knots, and curves are carefully studied to ensure the joint will not split under pressure. By curving their cuts slightly and respecting the natural path of the grain, the Amish guarantee connections that last centuries. It's a skill acquired over childhood, when boys watch fathers and grandfathers at the workbench, learning to see wood as something alive, not inert. To outsiders, these joints look simple, but they're feats of precision, where strength comes not from forcing materials together, but from harmonizing with the wood's natural properties. The result is that Amish barns and homes often stand for generations, joints tightening with time, much like enduring marriages that only become stronger with age. Amish proportional design systems. While modern architects rely on computer-aided design software to calculate stress loads and draw blueprints, Amish carpenters rely on ratios passed down through centuries of successful building. These proportional design systems are less about math on paper and more about instinctive geometry embedded in tradition. Whether raising a chicken coop or a dairy barn, Amish builders use ratios that balance load, distribute weight, and withstand the harsh winters and storms of their regions. What outsiders might see as simple design is actually the product of trial and error, tested across generations, each successful barn and home serving as proof of what proportions work. These methods allow Amish families to build without an architect on site because the engineering is already coded into their traditions. It's design wisdom embedded not in books, but in lived experience, which is why Amish buildings last decades longer than their modern counterparts. More importantly, every generation understands not just how to cut and join wood, but why specific measurements create strength. That knowledge is survival, passed from father to son, ensuring each project isn't just another structure, but an enduring monument to collective wisdom. Amish body-based measurements. Long before the tape measure became standard in construction tool belts, Amish families relied on the one instrument nobody could ever misplace: the human body. The system is surprisingly accurate and remains in practice today. From a father's arm span to a son's hand width, these proportions are standardized and passed down through generations, ensuring consistency across builders. Children are taught pace counting at a young age, with accuracy that allows a 100-foot foundation to be measured and miss the mark by no more than 2 feet. While that may sound imperfect to engineers obsessed with decimals, in real-world building, it is more than sufficient. In fact, for Amish carpenters who build hundreds of barns, homes, and sheds, this natural calibration eliminates dependency on tools that can be lost, broken, or bent. A carpenter's own body becomes a living ruler, always available, always reliable. This method not only reinforces independence, but also strengthens the communal system, because within a single Amish district, families share consistent measurement training. That means when dozens gather to build, everyone's foot or arm span lines up almost perfectly. It's a measurement system that proves the human body, when disciplined by tradition, is as good as any tool in the box. Amish timber preservation without chemicals. Where modern contractors reach for cans of chemical sealants and pressure treatments, the Amish lean on wisdom passed down over generations to make their wood last without synthetic shortcuts. One favored technique involves submerging freshly cut timbers in farm ponds for 6 to 12 months. This process leaches out the natural sugars that would otherwise attract insects and accelerate rot. In another method, they prepare brine solutions with rock salt, soaking fence posts and foundation beams until the minerals penetrate deep into the fibers, naturally discouraging pests. Smoke curing is also employed, exposing timbers to slow-burning wood smoke that leaves behind resins acting as natural preservatives. Even bark removal is carefully timed. Harvesting trees during sap flow ensures bark slips off cleanly, leaving no cavities for insects to burrow. Each technique is simple, natural, and sustainable, yet combined, they create lumber that stands resilient against decay and infestations for decades. Without chemicals, without modern pressure tanks, Amish builders produce wood that can outlast the synthetic treatments of modern industry, proving that sometimes the Earth's own processes provide the best defense. Amish foundation leveling methods. A building is only as strong as its foundation, and the Amish take this principle to heart with methods that defy modern assumptions. Using nothing more than string lines, wooden stakes, and water-filled jars, they can achieve a level foundation accurate within 1/8 of an inch over large spans. The secret lies in an old principle: water always seeks its own level. By using simple jars connected with water, they create a natural leveling system that doesn't require laser levels or expensive transit equipment. The system is as reliable today as it was 200 years ago. Generational knowledge adds another layer of precision. Amish fathers teach their sons how to read soil, place stakes, and align structures in ways that modern contractors often ignore. The result is a foundation so precise that the structures built upon it rarely shift or crack. In fact, many modern builders, despite having access to advanced tools, fail to achieve the accuracy Amish craftsmen do with string and water. It's a reminder that sometimes the simplest tools, guided by disciplined hands and inherited knowledge, outperform the flashiest technology. Mortar mixing with natural materials. Long before Portland cement became the global standard, Amish masons were perfecting lime mortar recipes that rival or surpass modern materials. The process begins with burning limestone in handmade kilns at temperatures that reach 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit, reducing the stone to quicklime. Mixed with water and specific sands gathered from creek beds, the mortar becomes a blend designed for strength and longevity. To this, fibers are added: horsehair, cow hair, or chopped straw, each element acting as reinforcement that prevents cracking while allowing walls to flex naturally with seasonal shifts. These natural mortars do not weaken over time. Quite the opposite. Through carbonation, lime continues to strengthen as it reacts with carbon dioxide in the air, sometimes curing for 50 years before reaching its full potential. That means Amish mortar, decades old, often outperforms fresh cement. These recipes are passed along like family secrets, and their durability is visible today in century-old Amish structures where mortar joints remain strong, binding stone and timber together with a permanence modern contractors often fail to replicate. Frost-proof foundation techniques. In climates where freeze-thaw cycles wreak havoc on foundations, the Amish employ ingenious methods to safeguard their structures against nature's most relentless force: frost heave. Rather than relying on concrete slabs or modern insulation, they carefully angle foundation stones to channel water away from the base of the building. By ensuring that moisture drains naturally, they prevent the freezing and expanding that cracks walls and destabilizes floors. Root cellars, a staple of Amish homesteads, are built with this principle in mind, maintaining steady 55-degree temperatures year-round thanks to the depth of construction and angled stone placement. This deep knowledge of soil and seasonal behavior is not found in textbooks, but inherited from fathers and grandfathers who read the land like a map. Their frostline wisdom is specific to region, refined by observation of how ground swells in winter and recedes in spring. By orienting stones and channels accordingly, Amish builders create foundations that withstand centuries of freeze-thaw cycles, outlasting modern basements that often show cracks within decades. Stone selection for foundations. Amish masons treat stone not just as material, but as the bones of the structure, chosen with care to last centuries. Their method is both art and science. Before a stone is ever laid, it is tested by sound. A solid stone struck with a hammer produces a crisp, ringing tone. A flawed stone echoes dull and hollow, betraying hidden fractures. Only those that sing clearly are deemed worthy of supporting generations of use. Stones typically weigh between 75 and 150 pounds, a size chosen to balance manageability with structural stability. These foundations, built without concrete reinforcement, have been documented to last 150 years or more, often settling less than modern concrete poured with rebar. It is slow, heavy work, but it results in footings that resist time, frost, and shifting soil. The Amish see stone foundations as more than function. They are a covenant of permanence. Each one laid with deliberation signals a commitment that the building above is not temporary shelter, but a legacy meant to endure across lifetimes. Amish blacksmith hardware is often overlooked in modern construction. Mass-produced nails and hinges treated as disposable. But in Amish communities, blacksmithing remains an essential craft, producing hand-forged nails, latches, and hinges that outperform industrial fasteners. Each nail has a slightly irregular surface texture that grips wood fibers better than smooth machine-made alternatives. Hinges are custom forged to match the exact size and weight of each door or gate, ensuring decades of smooth, sag-free movement. The forging process itself strengthens the metal, compacting its grain and making it resistant to fatigue and corrosion. This means Amish doors swing reliably for 50 years or more, while their nails hold beams tightly through countless freeze-thaw cycles. Beyond strength, this hardware is also a reflection of craftsmanship. A blacksmith knows who will use the hinge, how heavy the barn door will be, and what stresses it will endure. Unlike factory pieces made to fit average dimensions, Amish hardware is precise, personal, and built for a lifetime. It transforms the invisible details of construction into elements of strength that keep structures standing proudly across generations. Amish beam sizing without modern tools. In modern construction, engineers lean on load tables, software, and material specs to determine the right size of structural beams. But Amish carpenters rely on centuries of experience encoded in simple ratios. They use span-to-depth rules learned through apprenticeship, formulas not written on paper, but etched into memory through repetition. For example, they know by tradition how thick a beam must be to span a certain distance under a hayloft, or how wide a floor joist must be to hold the weight of an entire family. These rules of thumb are deliberately conservative, prioritizing strength over material savings. The result is beams sized stout enough to park a buggy on, as one Amish craftsman might say. They also account for wood type and regional climate. Oak beams sized differently than pine, barn beams sized differently than home rafters. The consequence is that Amish-built structures rarely fail under load and often outlast engineered buildings by decades. What modern builders view as overbuilding, the Amish see as the minimum standard, ensuring that when a child's grandchild runs across the same floorboards, they won't creak under the weight of time. And that wraps up the first 15 Amish building tricks that continue to amaze builders and historians alike. But we're only just getting started. Part 2 will be released soon, where we'll dive into the next 15 techniques that prove why Amish craftsmanship is in a league of its own. Make sure you don't miss it. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and check back so you can keep uncovering the secrets behind these timeless methods.